Hi, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, Savage Reads. I am excited about some of these books I've read recently. I had like a 5-star read that kind of surprised me, and I want to kind of just jump into it today. As a crafting update, I am still painting, I am still knitting, but I will give you some updates on the next one when I have a little more to show for it. I am just about done with the body of the sweater, just about to where I can do the ribbing at the bottom, and I'm very excited about that. And then I can go on to sleeves and neckline. And as for painting, I just need more inspiration. I've been kind of just testing out different methods and learning new skills the past week, but I haven't had any really big inspiration of something that I want to paint. And so I'm still trying to figure out what I want to paint next, but I am still learning on the painting front. But let's jump into the books that I have read this last week or so. So I'm going to start out with the 2 nonfiction books that I read or listened to in the past couple of weeks. And the first one is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. And this was a recommendation from the channel Stalking Kafka, and I will make sure to link her channel down below. This book is basically just a plea to care about what is going on in Gaza. It is a plea to not turn away from people suffering, to not ignore difficult things. And this book was really powerful and really sad. And for a while there, I thought, oh my goodness, is this gonna be one of those books that makes me really feel helpless, but not give me anything that I personally can even do? And I was worried about that, but by the end, I did feel like he had a few concrete things that I can do to try to help with some of this. And I think the main thing is, if you have a platform, speak out against unnecessary wars, speak out against the killing of children and innocent people, the bombing of hospitals, speak out against it. It is unacceptable. And also, try not to participate. Opt out of organizations and companies as much as you can that put their support behind corrupt politicians that are making money off of war. I think those are some small ways that we can try to do things, but it does make me feel a little bit helpless, just in that, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It's horrible, and I don't want to be the person who looks away when someone is suffering, but at the same time, how do you look at that and continue on in daily life? So I thought this book was excellent. This is a 5-star read. It is short, but it is a bit of a heavy one, so be aware of that going in. I had a comment recommending the book Bone Valley, a true story of injustice and redemption in the heart of Florida, by Gilbert King. And this is a true crime book, which, if you watch my channel, you know that I feel a little icky with true crime. And the reason that this book worked for me is that I felt there was a purpose in it being written. It wasn't just, let's delve into why this killer did what he did, and let's go be voyeurs on someone else's worst moments and their pain. And instead, this was calling attention to a very real case of a man who was innocent of the killing of his wife. And not only did he have to grieve the death of his wife, who was killed in a very violent manner, but he was sent to prison for more than 30 years and was not given a proper path to actual justice in his case. And so I thought this was really interesting to see how the justice system can be set up to uphold convictions without actually caring about the truth and real justice and further evidence. And I thought it was very interesting. I thought this was also interesting that there was a lot of time spent with the actual killer and his confession and what happened with that. I found the main man, Leo, to be very inspiring in his faith and in his forgiveness and in his patience through such a horrible, horrible time in his life. And I thought it was really well done overall. I do recommend it. If you are on the fence about true crime, I think that this is one of those that isn't going to cross that line for you, isn't going to feel like we are just pulling up people's pain to enjoy it for our entertainment. Instead, this did feel like we are exploring an injustice. This book very much is similar to the book The Sun Does Shine and the book Just Mercy, which I read a couple of years ago and really thought were excellent, talking about death row cases. And I think that you can really think about, what does justice mean? What is healing for people? And I thought that there were a lot of avenues to explore in this book. So as true crime goes, this was really, really good. I still do avoid the genre for the most part, but when there is an active injustice, I do think that these kinds of stories are worth being told. So if you have any more books that are true crime, but lean more on the side of seeking justice, lean more on the side of healing, and aren't just about rehashing what happened and trying to understand some different psychology or things of the sort, let me know, because there is a certain brand of true crime that I just can't get behind, but this did really work for me. A little while ago, I finished reading the Mistborn series out loud to my daughters. The first three, the original trilogy, and they loved those books, and they just really wanted to go on to the next series. Now, the next series takes place hundreds of years later and has different characters, but my girls really wanted to get into it. So I read The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson out loud to my daughters. Now, this book was fun if you want Mistborn, but make it steampunk, country, western sheriff kind of thing. It is Mistborn that's not taking itself so seriously. It's lighter hearted, it is fun, but this book is definitely not for kids. So as I read it out loud to my daughters, oh, we're gonna skim over that, or oh, we are going to soften that up a little bit. And so I don't necessarily recommend this book for kids, but I know my girls are enjoying it. Now, my 10-year-old, she can handle reading these books. There's nothing horribly explicit in them, but there is a lot of violence. There are some jokes with some innuendos in them, and I would not give them unsupervised to my 6-year-old. Now, my 10-year-old, she's doing fine. So it's a little bit of an interesting one, because these definitely do feel a little bit more adult to me, because these definitely have maybe a little bit more content that I would worry about, but overall my girls like them so much, so we are going to go ahead and finish this second little series. I do think that some of Brandon Sanderson's characterizations of the women in this are so frustrating, just so shallow, one-sided, so unnecessarily timid, and it's just uncomfortable, like, have you met a woman kind of feeling. But as we have been starting the next book, I feel like it's improving, and so I am a little bit hopeful, because I do think that Sanderson tries really hard to include a little bit more diversity, have more women, have these strong female characters, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't quite know how to do it. And I can see through these books that he's trying, and he might get there, and we're gonna see. So I am very interested. I still don't really know if any of these books are going to pass the Bechdel test. Why have we had no women actually having meaningful conversations? But overall, we are having a really good time. And lastly, thank you to Tiffany at Towering TBR for recommending the book Slayers of Old by Jim C. Hines. And this is very Buffy the Vampire Slayer with more senior citizens. We have this group of somewhat magical older people who run a magical bookstore and help the magical creatures, but they're gonna have to get back together and save the world. And I found this book to be entertaining and amusing. I had a good time with it, but I don't know if I ever felt super compelled to keep reading it. So I read this book a few pages at a time while my youngest daughter was in swimming lessons, and I had fun. I was glad that I had it to read. I enjoyed the experience of sitting out in the sunshine and reading for a little bit. But did I ever pick up the book when I wasn't at the pool? No. So I'm not quite sure how compelled I was by it. And maybe it's just a genre thing for me, or maybe it just hit me at the wrong time. I have been super scattered this summer, but it was interesting to have a book that I would be reading and enjoying at the pool, but had no compulsion to pick up at any other time. So I enjoyed this, but I guess I wasn't blown away or super engaged. I just thought it was kind of a nice, sweet book. Had a fun time. And that is what I have read the last week or so. If you have thoughts on any of these books, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what should I read next, and I will see you all on the next one.